Comes to ADHD, what you are most likely dealing with the most is dysregulation in the home. So one of the best things parents can do is start to sit back and take a look at their day-to-day with their child and start to identify what are the specific triggers that start the emotional dysregulation. Of course, one of the first is homework. Homework tends to be a daily fight between parent and child, and it's so hard to fully comprehend that huge hour-long fight that keeps the child from having to do the 10, 15 minutes of homework is actually stimulating the child and feeding in to their conflict and negative attention-seeking behaviors. So we have to change course and figure out how to avoid these daily fights and finally start to see some progress. Another trigger that causes lots of emotional dysregulation is screens. So often the child will have to transition from a screen and their screen time ends, or their child is on a screen when they have a non-preferred task to complete. Or maybe your child has lots of emotional dysregulation when it's time to get ready for bed, or the morning routine in the morning, or having to do basic daily tasks of hygiene and different things that are just not stimulating to them. So these are the areas where your child is prompt dependent. They are not doing these things independently, so they need constant reminders from you. But what makes parenting an ADHD child so incredibly difficult and stressful, and it leads to burnout, is yes, your child is prompt dependent and they need lots of reminders, but they're also unbelievably negative attention seeking. So when they hear that verbal prompt, it is far too stimulating to them to not listen, not do the right thing, to do the opposite of what is asked, or to respond to your verbal prompts with very insulting and negative behavior that evokes a larger response. They see you get dysregulated, and it feeds into the cycle. Because once they see that they have control over your emotions, they're highly stimulated and they feel in control. So one of the most difficult, but also one of the best things for parents of kids with ADHD to do is to find very creative ways to fade back and enlist supporters. Sit down with your partner, your spouse, or a trusted friend, or maybe even a parent coach, and start to come up with a plan for each one of those trigger moments. How can you as the parent fade back in each of those trigger moments and no longer be the one providing those prompts and providing the negative stimulation? How can we allow the child to experience natural consequences and experience life and be accountable to other people?